What's up, Marvelous Melvin Anthony?
Hey, how you doing, man? Love
Good.
the intro.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
There's some
Doing good.
technical
10 toes above
difficulties.
water, so
Yeah. Good. Where are you living at now?
right now I'm in Chris's old stomping grounds. So I'm about 20 minutes past Palm Springs and Bermuda Dunes,
Okay.
where it's hot. I think it's hotter than
All right.
I think it's hotter than Vegas.
Yeah, I'm in Dallas. It's pretty hot here.
Yeah,
So yeah. So let's start with your beginnings, Melvin. Like start your show history, how you got into bodybuilding, and then we'll roll from there.
Show history. I actually did my first bodybuilding contests in 1993. Ooh, that seems like so long ago. I didn't really have a lot of, I guess, education or know-how at the time. I was coming fresh off college football, and a guy walked up to me in the gym and asked me, did I compete? And I was like, compete where? I'm a football, So I got my first induction from a guy named Donnie Madison, who just followed me around the gym telling me how great my physique was. I thought it was weird at first. But I ended up competing my first contest before I met John Brown. So I think I did one show before I met John Brown. That was terrible. I mean, terrible. I had a guy talk. I won't even put his name out there. A guy who taught me how to pose. Man, I did it off Whitney Houston. It was the worst, I think, thing I ever seen. Now looking back, but after that, I was basically hooked. I was always into lifting weights growing up. So I think building muscle was just always a learning experience for me. Once I did meet John Brown, then sky was the limit after that. Once he told me what I had and how basically if I listened to everything he said, I would become a legend. I just wanted to make some money. I just wanted to be big. I wanted to compete. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to make money. So that's really what got me into it.
So you were naturally muscular, obviously. That's just from working out. And would you play football? Did you play sports when you were younger?
I started getting big from them streets, man. Yeah. I was running those streets. I was running them streets with the boys. And so in my neighborhood, I was from a different probably background than King. I'm not too familiar. He's telling me stories back and forth. I grew up hard. My neighborhood was low middle class, and we always saw the big guys with muscles coming out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I want to do that. I want to look like him. I don't care what y'all doing. I want to like that dude with the 25-inch arms. I want that. So you got to go to prison. You go get locked up, you come out big. So that's our mentality. Growing up, is that you had to go in the cage to get big.
Melvin, when was your first victory? What show was your first victory?
My first victory, I can tell you because that was the first time I ever saw Chris Cormier. 1995, I won the Palm Springs Muscle Classic.
Okay,
I think that's what it was called. It was the Palm Springs. And
what weight class?
I was I think it was a heavyweight. I was a heavyweight or light heavyweight. I can't remember. I think I was a heavyweight. I was like right at the bottom. I was like 202. I was 200 pounds. And I remember John telling me that day, there was, guys were in shape, they're shredded, and that's something that they miss nowadays. Guys that are coming to compete, they don't look at their competition. They just go to compete. I'm in shape. I'm shredded. I'm winning. Nah, you got to be aware of what's on your left and what's on your right. And I remember a guy, Mike, he was shredded I'm talking like Dexter Jackson, shredded, but he couldn't move worth anything. Like he moved like a robot. And John was like, he better than you in condition, but you're going to beat him today because he can't move. And I did. That was my first competition, 95.
How old were you then?
Well, I lied about my age. So when I came through, I could tell it now because I'm retired. I was 3 years older than I stated. I was 200. Let me see. I was 23, and I said I was 21. So at that time you had to put in your copy of your birth certificate. And so I took white out and whited it out and used the pen, a really thin pen. I took my mom's calligraphy pen and changed it.
What'd you have to be younger for? What was it?
Well, here was the mentality. The mentality was when you're older and you come in late. they cap how far you can go. If you're young and teachable, that end game stretches. Does that make sense? So coming out as a 21-year-old guy, he's a young guy, this and that, you become the new phenom. But I was 23, almost 24 years old. So yeah, so I lied, and it works, and it was just the young guy. The next he's going to be the next guy, the next big thing, and I was told from the beginning I had the opportunity that I think a lot of young people nowadays don't have. There was a fraternity in bodybuilding that we stuck together and we told everybody everything. It's iron sharpens iron, not you got a sword, let me just fight till I break it.
Yeah.
It was if I had a question, I was told that I was going to be looking or being just as good as a Vince Taylor. I was told I was going to be as good as Sean Ray, or if not better. I was told what I had before even presenting my body on stage, and I had that opportunity to meet Mr. Universe and 3-time Mr. World, John Brown, to tell me that. He had a long track record. He was a guy that wasn't really, we would call himself a trainer. He was just like a big brother. He's like, I don't want nothing from you. I just want you to be the best, and I want you to get out there and do dumb crap like the rest of these dudes out here. If they tell you to take something, you bring it to me. If you want to know something about this PED or that steroid, here's a book. It was called a Steroid Bible. You read it and don't come back to my house until you finish it. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, okay, well, can I just come train? And he said, you can train, but don't ask me no questions about any type of supplement until you read that book.
What was your first national level show?
First national level show, I think the Palm Springs was a national qualifier, I think.
No, I'm talking about the nationals now, like USA, junior
the
national.
USA 1997.
1997. How'd you do that year?
Well, third, but I was third in my first national show. And I'm not gonna make an excuse, but there's some things that happened beforehand, like any other bodybuilder you'll probably ever talk to that's had stomach flu, this, that. I ate some bad chicken and I lost more weight than I wanted to. And Chris was actually doing my diet at the time, helping me. So Chris Cormier, Paul Dillette, and I had Flex behind me at the time. Like, man, you're gonna kill everybody. I show up at this show and here comes Leo Ingram with the biggest legs I ever seen. Navy guy. You remember Leo Ingram?
Yeah.
Leo Ingram comes out. And then there's a guy named Kevin who won the shows. Kevin, I can't remember, it's Brown, I think. Kevin or Kenneth Kinney. He's the one that won the USA that 97. And then
white guy, bald. I remember him.
Came out of nowhere. I'm like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? And he won, and then I never saw him again.
Yeah, he won the DC show because that's where I was living at the time.
Yeah.
And, we saw him and we're like, okay, this guy's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah. So but I was third my first.
That's incredibly impressive, man, to go to your first national level show, especially back then, because back then it was all about who you have to pay your dues. That was the thing. You got to pay who's next. Oh, this is Chris's year. This is Flex's year. This is Dennis's year. Okay, that was the politics of back then. People got to understand that. So, being third your first time out is very impressive.
Yeah, and then funny when I went in there, Chris got me my first meeting at Weider's office. Right. So you did the take your clothes off in front of Joe thing too? Hell no. I didn't. Hell no. The funny thing is when I met him, the guy Joe is cool as hell, bro. But he would just say stuff like he walked right by me. This is a true story. Chris will tell you. Joey to walk right by me. I guess even now, like in my clothes, I look like I'm real thin. I'm 210 pounds right now, but I have a real thin neck, little wrist. He walked right by me. So then he goes and takes me in to talk to Kevin Horton, Peter McGuff. When you meet these guys, these are social media. Was social media, right? So you meet a Peter McGuff, that's like meeting God, bro.
Yeah, the editor-in-chief for Flex Magazine. Yes.
Yeah. So he laughed right in my face, King. Laugh right. He goes, hey man, this is gonna be the new pro right here. I'm sitting on the desk. They looked, him and Kevin and the two other guys looked at each other and started laughing. This guy, They laughed at me. I was so embarrassed. I was just like looking at him. He goes, "You gonna see?" Because I don't look like anything in my clothes. He laughed in my face. Peter laughed at me. They're giggling, cracking jokes. I walked out defeated. I walk out and there's Joe standing right there. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? You're a pro? And I was like, no. So I'm an amateur. He's like, oh yeah, you gotta get yourself a pro card. You gotta be up there like this guy. And he's pointing at Robbie Robinson's statue. At the time, I didn't know that was Robbie Robinson. I'm thinking it's Joe Weider, but like that ain't him. That's Robbie Robinson.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So let me inform everybody. So I was a Weider athlete. So when I signed with Weider, I was pre-warned and I was told that Joe's going to ask you to go into his office and take off your clothes and flex for him. So I was like, can somebody be in there with me, please? And yeah, and then what should we call it? Peter
McGuff
came in there with me and introduced me and all that stuff. But it was a little weird. But hey, I'm signing a contract. I'm finally pro, so fuck it, let's do it.
But did Joe ever go past that? We got all these other guys later on.
Look, I ain't gonna. I'm not gonna do no snitching now, right? But King was actually one of the fortunate ones. I didn't get a Weider contract until way later, and it wasn't really a Weider contract. It was more for publishing. I didn't get the King. King had made such a stink, we gonna get on him in a minute. King was hated by all of us, bro. Hated.
We went through this with Cormier's
bro. I'm gonna we're gonna get into it again, but Chris told the PG version. I'm gonna tell you the R version. Look, I called Chris and cussed him out. I said, man, I watched that stupid little. You gonna hint around and talk about how to keep professional, man. But they asked me, I'm gonna tell it all. You said they're leaving shit out.
I got very thick skin. We can get into that. That's fine.
Man, let me tell you, we're gonna jump forward. King Kamali was hated by every dude in the West Coast. When I tell you that boy, that he's my buddy now, this is my brother, you know what I mean? I'll take a bullet for King right now. But boy, when that boy started popping off at that mouth, first of all, we like, who is this dude? Who is this Middle Eastern, Persian, whatever? Who is this fool? And he was calling. I mean, she wasn't scary. So he was talking about, well, you guys are pussies. So I get on MySpace. Chris is mad. Chris comes to the gym hot. Chris comes to the gym. We working out. He couldn't work out. He's pacing back. I don't know what this dude think. He'll come over here and do this. He talking about he gonna come over here talking about West Coast people lazy and they pussies. I said, what? I said, let me see it. So I go over to Chris' house after the gym, and I didn't know how to use MySpace at the time. And I'm reading King is just checking. King is just popping off. And I'm the best thing since smoked bread. You guys don't know how to train. I'm going to show you. And I'm like, forget that. At the time, let me just break down, Armon, the intensity of what he didn't know he was doing, but he was doing it. Man, he was putting a bullseye right here. So he was like, I don't care what y'all talking about. You'll see when I get there. Now, we take that as you coming to fight and to compete. Cool. So when you get here, you better bring a crew. I'm coming. I'm realizing this mentality now, Armon, was West Coast against the East Coast. This was Tupac and Biggie. Now, King don't realize what's going on because he's just being, I found out later, it was for publicity, right?
Yeah, that's
this time, we didn't know nothing about no publicity. We just know this dude is over here in some other state talking about he's going to come over here and beat us on stage and then whatever we want to do. What? Man, I got on that MySpace. I think I went back and forth with King for like a week. Pop, 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 pop. And he's like, hey, why you so, and he's so calm. Why are you so angry? You're going to see get off over here. You're going to see when he's thinking on the stage. No, I'm calling guys from the neighborhood. Armon, I'm telling you real now. Well, I'm calling dudes from Long Beach.
Can I inject real quick? Let me inject real quick. So yes, everything that Melvin said right now is true, and I did do it for publicity because when I called the Weider offices, I'm like, how come you always do West Coast guys? What about us? Well, you guys need to come over here and take pictures. And anyway, so I said, all right. So I did all that trash talking, but I think when it really popped off was at the Ronnie Coleman Classic. I was guest posing. Melvin was 4 weeks out from the USA. He was on point. I mean, ripped the whole night. He was Melvin. I'm a 290-pound, fat, bloated, off-season guest posing. And Melvin gets on stage and challenges me. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Bro.
So that's, I think, where it popped off. So I got on a microphone and I said, Melvin, go to the USAs, get your pro card, stay away from nationals. That's my show. And we kind of went at it on stage a little bit. But even after that, even with all the animosity, all that stuff, we saw each other for dinner that night and we were cool. Everything's fine. You got to understand Melvin. Melvin he's the best character ever in bodybuilding. He knows how to get under your skin, but at the same time, he's just messing with you. And I say that because even when we were fighting and all the East Coast, West Coast stuff, when we were at the Arnold Classic at the Muscle Tech booth, Melvin was the one who said, hey, King, you hungry? And his girlfriend or wife at the time, I wasn't sure, she went and got me food, and we went in the back. And Melvin was actually thinking about me. I was like, wow, that's when I started to put two and two together and find out who really Melvin is. Melvin Anthony is a character, man. He was one of my favorite characters.
This was the best part that King forgets. And I always tell him, like, everything he's saying is true. So here was the breaking point. Here was the breaking point for me. So he comes down. He's like, I'm coming down. You're going to see. And now I know now we're going to put his name on blast. Chad got him to do that. Chad, I cussed Chad out after that. I figured it. I said, Chad, why you tell that boy to do that? He goes, well, it worked, didn't it? I was like, bro, he did that character. King is a character too, because he stayed in character his whole career. And you didn't know when he was laid back until after the show. So we come to the Iron Man, right? Now Chris is still mad. Like Chris is mad, Flex is mad, Paul DeLess mad, Craig Titus is mad. King Kamali had everybody in Gold's Gym Venice waiting for him to get off that plane. So he comes to the Iron Man, right? 2001. And we were going back and forth, hated each other, whatever. But he was kidding. I was serious about mine. Chris was serious about mine. King was like doing his part. So he comes, he got a couple of guys with him. I don't know if he had his girl at the time. He had 2 or 3 guys with him at the Ironman, 2001. So he comes backstage, he walks by and I'm like, yeah, there you go. So I start, get on my damn BlackBerry, pop, 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 pop. That fool was here. Pop, 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 pop. My boys from the projects, they come, guys to the Long Beach. I'm like, it's going down tonight. He got boys with him. Good. I got my back.
It was my family. It wasn't my boys. It was family members.
He has some big family members with him.
Armon, I'm on stage, and I'm seeing. I'm not sure if they were Crips or Bloods, but they were throwing up signs. They were doing the whole thing like this and all that stuff. What the hell? It got so bad. It got so bad that one of the competitors, Big JD Dawadu, he came up to me after prejudging. He said, do you want me to, escort you or something? Because this looks serious, man. I was like, nah, it's okay. It's just boys. He goes, I don't think so.
It wasn't. King was naive. King was naive to it. So this is where the breaking point was. We come out in the backstage. I beat him on stage. He going up, and he was outshining me at first on that preaching. I was getting pissed. So I'm like, me and King going. If you watch the video, me and him, pop, pop, pop. We're going back, pop, pop, pop. Then Chris goes up, pop, pop, pop. Now the whole time, Chris is like, man, I hate that dude. We ain't no way I'm losing to him. And I'm thinking I hate him too. And I'm like, he ain't beat me either. It's like it was forget the winner of the show. Our goal was to beat King. I didn't care who else was there, not JD. It was King. I'm going at the King, and when he come out, everybody was boom. Oh, it was crazy. So at the night show, it was all said and done. I'm like, well, he wasn't really popping off like the email. So I'm like, it ain't matching. Chris won't even talk to King. King walked in the door. We looked at King. King said, try to say something to Chris. Chris looked at that boy. You're like, you better get out of here. All going. So he felt pressure, but didn't know how serious it was. So after the show, King comes out. He's got his bag with a couple of his boys, and all my buddies was like on the back. I said, meet him on the side. So we come out the side. King come out the side. Whoop, they come there. They're behind me. And Chris don't know. King don't know. They're behind me. Everybody's suited and booted. Like, what's up? So I was like, he's like, hey man, great show, man. He puts his hand out, and I'm thinking, I'm waiting for these, like, because it's East Coast, West Coast. I'm thinking this when it go down after the show. King goes, oh man, it was all publicity, bro. And I stopped what I was doing, and I hear my friend behind me like, forget that, man. He got to get it. I turn around, wait, hold on.
He got to get it.
Like, hold on, let me see what he's talking about. So he starts to explain what he was doing. I was like, man, okay, cool, whatever. Bang, we pound. He's like, oh, man, you have a good one. I'm like, oh, he's pretty He don't sound nothing like the MySpace. He leaves. Then we saw him at the at the guest pose, and then we saw each other at the Arnold. And I'm like, man, nah, we're gonna take care of this dude. He's straight, man. We found out.
And also, Melvin, to let everybody understand that, you know, what you see, like what's we call it? What's the boogeyman's name, Armon?
Blessing.
Blessing and Nick Walker tried doing a fake version of what we used to do for real. For real. So people didn't understand. I mean, you can't fake that. And it's one of my questions, by the way, for the, I don't want to give it away, but for my speed round, but Melvin is a supreme shit talker. I mean, we're talking one of the best trash talkers. He's a Larry Bird level trash talker. So we were on stage, and he's absolutely right. I mean, we were talking shit back and forth. But the best part is you look and you see the judges even enjoying it. Like you could see Weinberger smiling. They were bumping it on like this because that's what the sport needed. And guess what? 2001, and still, in my opinion, it changed the sport because it made people fun. The camaraderie, the rivalry. I mean, the press conference at the 2001 Olympia.
Oh man,
Melvin was the one.
My hair's still standing up, bro. Right now, look, my hair is standing up right now.
There was a guy in the audience, Armon. His name I forgot, Kenny Jones or some dumb retard from New York. He started talking shit to me at the press conference, and Melvin was the one who kicked me under the table. He goes, "If you even answer that motherfucker, you're an idiot."
Is that that guy that used to compete all the time? That like,
yes,
it was like, why is he?
Yeah, because he's like King Kamali talks all this, and then I mean, here's me and Melvin. We're gonna battle each other, but even Melvin turned around and said, "You don't even answer him, man. Just be quiet. It's not worth it." I mean, so again. We battle, but we had Melvin at the beginning of this conversation said we had a camaraderie. We protected each other because we were IFBB pros. We were the elite. We're at the top tier of the sport, but we battle. But at the same time, we watch each other's backs.
That part, and it didn't matter. Judge, promoter. You know, our crew back then, man, we didn't. You know, it's an unspoken thing. You know, if you came with the rah-rah, it didn't matter if it was Weinberger, it didn't matter if it was JM. Oh, they give us the green light. Oh, we gonna handle that, and you ain't gonna outside. We gonna catch you. We gonna be professional here, but we were a group that didn't take no mess off of anybody.
Melvin, your group, like when y'all started at Venice, you, Chris, Paul, and all y'all, how did y'all meet? Just because y'all all were great bodybuilders, or was it Charles Glass, or how did y'all end up like?
Armon, I was lucky, so I can break that down. I don't know why. John was like, I don't know why they're like, you're a little badass. You're just a little badass. You need to learn how to. John Brown taught me how to be a man, a gentleman. Yes, sir. No, sir. I mean, I had a mama that raised me, right? Pentecostal church, all that. But I was running them streets. So it was told to me, hey, either you're gonna be a bodybuilder or a gangster. Which one you can't do both. You gotta choose one, you know. And I ended up choosing. So growing up, coming through this ranks with John Brown, he put me in front of Sean Ray right away. Took me to the man's house, stood me next to him, and he goes, "What do you think?" At the time, I was like, you know, I didn't see much. You know, to me at the time, he's another guy elusive in his clothes. I'm like, he's little. He's like 5 foot nothing. So he goes, well, how do you think you can stand next to him? I go, yeah. Okay, Sean, take your shirt off. When that boy took his shirt off, I was like, ooh, let me take that back.
Yeah.
He took that shirt off and took them pants down. I was like, God damn. Striated everywhere.
Right.
Introduced me to him. So then I started to begin seeing him in the gym all the time. Then you got Milo Sarchap, who was in the gym, who owned a gym, who I was, rubbing shoulders with. All the photo shoots. I got in good with Chris Lund. They just liked me. I don't know why these guys like you so much. I had to cover a magazine as an amateur. I did guest posing as an amateur. They would fly me to Japan, 96. He said, they like you for some reason, so you have to use it. Just like King Kamali was taught to use the niche, you got to use your niche. He says, don't be afraid to be the bag boy, because the bag boy hears everything. So when Chris had a photo shoot for the first time, who do you think was the bag boy? I was carrying weights. Sean Ray had a photo shoot. Who do you think was carrying them weights? So guess what that did for me? It got me next to Paul Dillette, Lee Priest, Sean Ray, Vince Taylor, Chris Cormier, Flex Wheeler, Craig Titus, Jason Arntz. Every bodybuilder you can think of back then, I was around. And they all talked and we rubbed shoulders. And every day I went to Venice, I would go there 3 times a week. And then I would come back, to Fullerton and train. So I was able to see all those guys in Venice Golds. You know what I mean? I was able to be around them and listen to what they took. I was able to be around Lee Priest arguing with Paul Dillette, which is the funniest scenario I ever freaking seen. Is this little white boy arguing with this big giant and going back and forth on who was supposed to start their diet 2 weeks ago. So guess what the solution was? I got $300 worth of food that day. This is fine, Melvin. If you don't, it's fine. I'll start. Clean my fridge. What? I can have everything in there. He said, whatever's in there, not diet food, take it. Lee was like, yeah, go get it, because this bloody hell fucker's supposed to be on here dieting right now. And so I went and got in the fridge, had 3 bags worth of steaks and hamburger meat and White Castle hamburgers and corn dogs and milk and ice cream. I had all this stuff I left in the house. So that was my induction. I was able to be around these guys to hear everything, even stuff they were taking. I was writing it down. Oh, how many did you take? How much teeth are you taking? Yeah, Mel, you shouldn't take too. Man, I got the blueprint. So they weren't intimidated by me coming up as an amateur until I was there. It's too late.
Melvin, how much do you miss? How much do you miss that time? How much do you miss that Hot Skins to the Firehouse to Gold's Venice?
Oh, know the program.
How much do you miss that? Because I don't think the people understand what it was like. Please explain to them that, that lifestyle, the culture that you guys had in that triangle.
Break it down. Yeah, it's funny that you really know that process. By 10 o'clock in the morning, when I was going to Venice Golds, I would drive from Fullerton and go to Venice Golds. If you were there between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., you saw so many pros and athletes and actors and football players and Kobe Bryant and Gregory Hines, who I got close to like that, James Caan, the Hulkster, Lou Ferrigno. I saw him every day.
The Rock.
The Rock. Come on, me and The Rock used to be. He don't call me The Rock. I hate that. Call me Dwayne. Yeah. So he don't like to be called The Rock. He likes to be called Dwayne.
Yeah.
These guys being around that, and then after training, they all would say, "You going to the Firehouse?
Firehouse.
You going to the Firehouse?"
Please explain to everybody what the Firehouse is.
The Firehouse in Venice Beach, California, is one of the top restaurants for any athlete, actor, singer, dancer you can think of. We ain't forget Jerry's Deli. Go to the Firehouse between 10 and 2, and you're going to see more people. Willie McGinnis. You're going to see Gregory Hines. You're going to see everybody you can think of going to that place to eat, because they had clean food, fresh food. The taste was good, and it was macro elements, I guess, is all satisfied. And everybody goes on a diet. When you're on a diet for the Olympia, we all went there because we knew we could eat that food that's fresh,
right?
And it's along with our diets. So everybody went there, and then from there we went from there to Chris's house to go play PlayStation.
Max Muscle was right there too.
Max Muscle was next.
What's that chicken place across the street from the gym? The Beautiful Chicken.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, with the big rooster.
That was the most amazing sauce ever.
Amazing.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's just that culture. I wasn't a West Coast guy, but every time I went there for the photo shoots and stuff, I used to always say to myself, these guys are so lucky, man. Look at what they have here. This is literally bodybuilding paradise right here. Mm-hmm. It was.
And then we go to the Venice We go to the Venice Pit right after that. Sometimes just walk around because of the ladies. That's you want to catch something, take your shirt off and go walk around the pit. And you got any amount of muscle. You single. I ain't talking to you married guys and dummies that's trying to get in trouble. I'm talking about people that's single, good looking guy. You know what I mean? Even if you ain't, you got some muscle. Go train in the pit in Venice Golds. At Venice Beach.
Yeah,
it's different now though, Melvin. What year? I started going out there around 2000. I think my first shoot with like Reps Muscle Mag was when Alex Arditi, like 2007.
Oh, you work with Alex?
Yeah, Alex was my favorite photographer. I shot a lot of times with him. And at that time, it was still, I saw a lot of people out there at that time. I think, what year was it? Like 2011, 10?
Oh,
when people started dissipating everywhere.
I'm sorry.
No. I know people started moving to Vegas and people started moving other places. What year was that when it kind of started to lose that like feel that it had?
I would be lying if I said a year. I just know when I started going up there in 94, 95, 96, all the way through to 2009. 2000. I would go up there periodically. But the gold culture changed even at Venice Golds. At Venice Golds, if you went there between 10 and 1, you would see 1,000 people in line waiting to get a picture with somebody coming out of there. If King Kamali went in and worked out, they would freak out. They used to bring them busloads in from LAX straight to Venice Golds. China, Korea, they would get off that bus and go right to that little entryway. It was wide open, and they were waiting in that entryway where the clothes were until we got done training. And I was an amateur.
Now, I don't want to cut you off, which leads to something that I always say over and over again. If we had social media back then, Melvin Anthony, King Kamali, because we would have 20 to 30 million followers, and each one of us would be making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month without a question. Without a question, that would be. But we had a different type of culture, a different type of life. Melvin, do you think that's Armon asked a great question right now. Do you think it was like the downfall happened step by step? Because I remember Hot Skins closed, Max Muscle closed. And then you started seeing those tents of all the homeless people being lined up, and that smell. I mean, that had to been. Did you get to a point where you're like, what the fuck? And then for me, the cherry on top of the cake was when I went there and they said, we don't honor the pros training free here anymore. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I'll tell you a little story about
that. Lee Priest tells that story all the time when he went in there and he goes, well, see that guy on the wall? That's me.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Me and Lee talked about that, and we both were hot about it. So I went up there one time, and I was waiting for actually a pro Mo. His name is Mo. He does classic, and I was waiting for him just take a look at him and give him his changes and work on a little bit of his routine that to tighten him up for a show. Walk up to the front, and the guy's like, "It's $150 for the day." And I looked at him. I was like, "Who?" I said, I should have a black card around here. He said, I've never had to pay. I've got a lifetime membership. He said, what's your name? I go, Melvin Anthony. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. And I said, well, I'll wait. I'm not even going to even get into it. I'm going to go sit down and wait. So I'm sitting there. Here comes Silvio Samuel. Marvelous, man. What's up, man? And the person, two people behind the desk, the manager and the other two people, still didn't know who I was. It's okay, because I don't expect anybody to know who I am. But if you're in the fitness world and you don't know who I am, something's wrong with you. You're working in the gym and you don't know pro bodybuilders. That's what we do for a living.
That's like Christian Leitner going back to Duke and somebody says, who are you?
Exactly.
Was it when Ed Connors lost was it when Ed Connors? What year did Ed Connors when did that happen and it all turned corporate? What do you guys know what year that was?
I don't know what year that was. I just know even corporate, if you have athletes that you use, Kobe Bryant, Stone Cold, the Hulkster, you got a King Kamali, you got a Melvin Anthony, you got a Silvio, you got a Sean, you guys should know these people. And if you don't, okay, I don't want to just say, hey, I'm this guy. I just sat there and waited an hour. So Silvio comes out and goes, hey, man, this guy's on. You don't know who that is? His picture's back there. His picture. I was like, I didn't say your picture's on the wall. I was like, mm-hmm. He goes, can you tell me where it is? I said, yes. In the back. Right next to the cardio equipment, second row, second to the left. He went, I said, I don't even have to see it. So he goes, oh, okay, you want to come? So I had to walk him around there, all the way around there, and I went right there. That's you. Uh-huh. Oh my God, we're just, you can come in and it's just because some of these guys are pros and we don't really honor the pros, but you're a legend. I go, it shouldn't matter. A pro is a pro. You got a pro card. And you work out, and you've done the Mr. Olympia, you should be able to come in this gym for free.
They even let national guys. When I was over there, they even let national guys in for free.
If you had a name.
Well, because back then, if you were a top-tier national level competitor, you were already a star. In 1999, everyone and their mother knew Melvin Anthony was the man to beat at the USA's. Everybody and their mother knew that King Kamali was going to be in the 99 Nationals. I was the number one heavyweight. I mean, you were already a star. Nowadays, I've played this game 1,000 times with everybody before. Melvin, who won the USA's last year?
Last year? I was there.
Who won the Nationals last year? Who won the National? I mean, there was a time where you would say Chris Cormier, and you'd be like, oh yeah, Chris Cormier was a this, he did that, he blah blah blah. Melvin Anthony did this. The culture is now. You say Sam Sulik, everybody and their mother knows exactly who you're talking about.
Because of likes. But his body don't his, I don't care what nobody
don't say it. You know why? You'll get 1,000 haters coming after you.
I don't
saying,
care what.
You just jealous. You old. You're a hater.
Guess what? Guess what? I don't care. You can say whatever you want to Melvin Anthony. If I see, if it's a duck, it got feathers and it quacks, it's a duck. So Suick couldn't stand next to nobody in my era ever on the stage. Looking at his best right now. My nephew is harder than him right now. And he ain't never took anything in his life.
Should I throw a different? I'll throw a name at you that nobody even knows about. George Betancourt. When he won the Teenage Nationals from Betancourt, George would be crushing. He'd be killing it right now. Absolutely killing it. As a 19-year-old, he'd be killing it right now. That's what we had to. That's who I was like looking at it when I was 17 years old, going, "What the fuck, man?"
You know, we had DeMayos, bro. We had Paul DeMayos running around. We had Mike Francois walking around. We had, you know, people always talking about, but even likes, you know, Rich Piano, right?
Victor Richards.
Couldn't nobody touch Victor. And Victor was one of the guys that John said, if you continue doing what you're doing, you'll be good like that. That's legendary. Yeah, so you got guys in here complaining about, oh, you know, don't talk about the young kids because it's making the sport look bad. Oh, you know, I seen a video of I don't know who Samson was referring to about, you know, talking about how the guys are not standing correctly on stage. You know, is it bad? I'm gonna talk about.
He was talking about Lee Haney. I'll say it. He was talking about
Lee. Look, guess what? Lee Haney was an 8-time Mr. Olympia. He can say what he wants. Guess why? Because it's the truth. I learned that way. I learned that era, and that has not handed itself down to the young guys today. That's the problem. The problem is you guys are saying these guys are the new age. Well, the new age sucks. You know why it sucks? Because they want to do what they want to do and not follow the protocol and check the list off. You in shape? You balanced? You conditioned? You presenting it well? No. So that's a no. You get last. Because guys
but Melvin, what do you say? Because you're bringing up a good point right now. What do you say to people when you go to the Arnold Classic, which I haven't, Armon has much more than I have, or you go to the Olympia Expo, and you see a top-notch professional bodybuilder with about 15 people in front of him, and then you have the Trend twins with a line around the block to take pictures with the Trend. I told this to Armon a while back. If I ever went to my gym when I was working out at my day and called myself the Trend twins, I'd get my ass kicked every single day. Every single day. They'd be taking me out into the parking lot and beat the crap out of me.
Every day. And yeah, you're right. I agree. When he was talking about Lee Haney, you're talking about, you know, why these guys, if you're standing messed up and look like you riding a horse, that's what you look like. If Andrew Jack stands up there and holds a baby, I'm gonna call it holding a baby. That's what I said, and I said to your face. That it's like anything I say on a video or a podcast, I have no problem discussing it with you in person. Why? Because I'm an older gentleman now that has been through the ringer. King has been through the ringer, right? Lee Haney is seasoned Olympian, not no 1, 2, 3 times. No, he won it 8 times in a row. Why did he win it that way? Because the standards are set even today like they were before. There are variations of these moves, but when you stand up stage looking like your bow leg, it's ugly. I'm sorry. Stick your foot out like Linda Murray. You ain't Linda Murray, so why are you sticking your foot over there? It don't look right. Are you trying to showcase your Johnson or what? When you standing there with your arms like you want to fly the airplane because your lats is big, set them down on them so that we can see the cap of your shoulders. What are you trying to show us? When you're presenting your routine and you're doing powerful music and you're 120 pounds, why are you doing that? Right. Why are you posing stuff that don't match? And you expect me not to talk about it? Say what you want about Lee. I'm gonna say it twice. If it's bad, it's bad.
Two questions, which is you're leading up to the questions right now. Number 1, should they bring the symmetry round back?
Hell yeah.
Number 2, should they count and judge the posing round?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Good. Talk about it a little bit.
First of all,
symmetry round.
Symmetry is just what it is. See, this is what I'm trying to say. You're trying to pacify people that are coming into this sport with a blocky physique. Nothing wrong with that. I would never tell a person that's not genetically gifted not to compete.
Right.
Here's an example. Jay Cutler got his ass whooped for years until he put enough muscle on his body to accentuate his symmetry.
Right.
Go back and look at the damn pictures.
Yeah.
And he'll tell you, I'm not the most symmetrical, but that boy put on so much muscle in the right places, you can't beat him. I tried.
Width. Jay became so wide that you could
wide as a door.
Absolutely. I agree with
exactly. That. Same with Dorian. Dorian's not the most aesthetic person, but he got muscle in the right spots and put that muscle on, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger says. It was our Picasso. You're supposed to put muscle where it's supposed to be. Now, why put on all this muscle and get in shape and then get up there and just throw it on the floor?
Yeah.
Why get in the symmetry round?
Divulge in that. Like let's say, because right now everybody's a little bit confused. So let's say,
okay.
let me put an example and we can discuss this. You can go into details. So you've got Nick Walker and a call out against Hadi Chupon and Samson Dowda in a symmetry round. In the
symmetry round, Nick's
what
going
happened?
to be third.
Explain to the kids what happened in the symmetry round.
Symmetry round, Samson's going to beat his butt.
Hadi's crush. It absolutely smoked.
Only because we're talking about an X factor standing next to a rectangle.
Right.
An X factor standing next to a rectangle. Now, I'm not saying that Nick has the worst symmetry. I'm saying standing next to someone who is symmetrically gifted or genetically tiny waist, little insertions, big chest, wide shoulders, nicely swept quads, big calves from the front and the side and the back. From the front, Nick loses because his waist is square, whereas Hadi and Samsa are here.
Right.
Nick is here with his waist. So when you turn to the side, Nick can angle and hide it. But Samsa and Hadi are automatically like this. They're automatically going to shrink down. Then you're going to do another quarter turn to the back. Now you're supposed to weigh out the symmetrical X factor with balance of muscle and condition. Right. So Nick's got great condition. Hadi got crazy condition. And Samson got great condition all the way through. His glutes could be a little bit more diced in, but it's enough to get everybody across the board genetically. So you put that in between Nick Walker, Hadi on this side, Samson on this side. Two guys looking like this. One guy looking like this. Who's going to win? It ain't going to be Nick.
Right.
Is what it is. And if you can't move now, if Nick could work on some angling and transitioning in his posing, he might be able to push a Hadi. He's still not going to get Samsa because
muscularity. I don't think
it's
not necessarily. See, that's what I'm trying to get. If you put it to a strict symmetry round, it'll be a night and day difference. I mean, some people will move up a couple spots. Definitely move up a couple spots.
Yes.
So,
yes.
When did the posing start changing a lot? Because my last national, I did 2011 nationals before I had all my injuries, and we were still posing like normal. And then it started getting more out here, where the arms started getting higher and higher. The judges, didn't really say anything. They're not really telling people how to pose. When did that happen? And I know, Melvin, you still pose a lot of people. Me and King prep a lot of people. I don't know, King, if you pose a lot of your clients. I really don't. I still
not
am
really
a posing coach. Yeah, but what do you do? What do those guys do though when you're standing next to other guys with like that? Do you stand like that too, or do you stand stand normal? Because these guys are all confused, and it looks. I mean, all of them are doing that. It looks like they're on the motorcycle. Motorcycle pose. It's weird.
I think it's all copycat. Monkey see, monkey do. Now, I'm not calling nobody a monkey, so don't be mad and don't be talking about Melvin's going to be monkey. No, I'm saying you are following a trend instead of learning correctly. If I was to work with King would never let me stand like that. Why are you standing? Put your arm down. Bam. He's going to correct me before I get there. And that's what people are starting to get away from. They're getting away from learning how to pose and present their body without music. They're not understanding there's an aspect of a battle that goes on stage that you don't talk about. You just looking at it from the camera. But even a video, social media does not show the real battle. Believe me, when I was taught to see King Kamali coming. And when he came, I knew what King Kamali had. He turned to the side, that show ass. I'm not standing there next to that boy, pushing on my side chest, knowing his glutes look like that. I'm gonna give a hint of it, and I'm gonna move to keep the eyes on me. Right? You got to know what your best shots are. You got to know what the guy next to you's best shots are. You got to know what his flaws are and what his gifts in seconds. And I was taught how to do that, and that's what I teach. I see King coming. Okay, I'm going his shoulder. My arms are better. His back is about the same. Hamstrings are good, but my quads is good. My waist is small, and I got a nice full chest, and I got good symmetry. I'm not going power for power shot with King Kamali. You do a most muscle, I'm doing lat spread. You do a side chest, I'm doing back double bicep. And you got to know how to do it like that.
What about the posing round? How should they judge the posing round? Because that's the argument that we've been having over and over and over again. Like if you ask somebody in the IFBB, in the higher echelon IFBB, they're going to be like, no, because some people come out there like, and Melvin and the King and this guy's going to dance and we can't do that. Well, it's not about that. It's the entertainment factor that people are forgetting. And I get it all the time. You didn't pose. You only hit 2 poses. Okay, so what? It's posing round. It's an entertainment factor. That was how I saw it. It was as an entertainment. Now, there was 2 different types. There's posers and there's entertainers. You, my friend, were both because you came out and you did your John Brown stuff, and then you did the pop lock West Coast, which everyone loved, and I did. I'm one of your biggest fans when it comes to that. I love the posing. I especially loved it when you were in Italy and you did you did a dance battle against those Italian
remember
boys.
that? I didn't start that shit, King. They did. I didn't.
You gotta tell Armon. These 3 Italian idiots came and they challenged Melvin to a pop lock contest. Man.
There was 7 guys. We're all down there, right? And
Bill Heath was laughing his ass off.
Bill's telling me, bro, he said, they got a dance crew that they paid all this money to do the entertainment, the commercial, right? So, were you out there in Italy that time, King?
No, I just saw the YouTube.
Me and Phil are sitting there, and Phil's like, I was teasing Phil, like I got in Phil's head as much as I could until I couldn't get on his money no more. I'm gonna stay right here. Well, come here, rookie. Come here, rookie. Why you gotta call me a rookie? That's what your ass is. Come on, let's go over this. So I call him rookie wherever we went. So we're in there, we're watching these guys dance, and Phil goes, hey Mel, so you're a real dancer, right? I was like, here you go with the BS. And he was like, man, them dudes might try to challenge you. I like, I wish they would, because I dance for real. Like, okay. So sure enough, the guy, I somehow feel, I don't know if he started or said something. The guys come around and we start talking. We're, hey man, your routine was great and bobs. But we real dancers. I went, so what you trying to say? Because I hit some shots and muscle that I can't get it. What you want to do? You want you want to battle? Look, Phil was like, get him. I was like, come on then.
He threw his hat down. He took his hat off and he threw it down on the ground. He challenged you. I saw it.
Yeah, he challenged me. What he did, I said, that's your ass. Now I'm exposed you and your sorry
Armon,
ass.
he killed them. I gotta be honest. Melvin absolutely destroyed to the point where it was just comical at the end. It was dumb.
Yeah. One of the dudes I was trying to go back in my lean, he goes and throws himself under my legs. So when he throws himself under my legs, I hit the splits on his ass. Wow.
Melvin, so when you got into bodybuilding, you said the streets or bodybuilding. Did you still have like one foot in the street still when you were bodybuilding? And then did that ever go away, or did you kind of like through your bodybuilding career? How did that work out through bodybuilding in the streets? Because I mean, I'm sure all your boys. You show all your boys that were still in the streets. That you had your bodybuilding crew, and so how did that work?
It worked out. You had to leave it alone. It's like either you're gonna be a good person, or you're gonna be a hustler, a bad person. So over time, the bodybuilding saved my life. Bodybuilding kept me from getting shot on the streets. Bodybuilding kept me from squeezing triggers. Bodybuilding showed me that every person that didn't look like me wasn't out to get me. Bodybuilding showed me that if you put the right know-how together with the right, how can I say, perfect practice brings perfect performance, something like that. Basically saying there's more to life than the hustle. And bodybuilding gave me that, right? So people that think, oh yeah, I couldn't really talk about this when I was competing because if you said something like that, oh, you're gonna be blackballed. You can't come over here being a little knucklehead. But people don't realize that people that knew me, and I never really mentioned this before. Sandy Rinaldi is like my mommy. Ted Williamson's like my daddy, kind of. You know, you have those stepfather or people that are in your life that give you. I used to sneak in Ted Williamson's gym when I was 13 years old, ditching school. I used to sneak. And wait, Melvin, are you going to just you're going to be better? While I was in the amateur stage, I was still fighting. I was still doing stuff that people heard about but never saw. You know, people don't realize that. You know, Craig Titus is that close. Ooh, yeah, that's a whole other beast. You know,
you got into it with him, didn't you?
Yes, sir. He sucker punched me in the gym.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Behind trying to go after my ex-girlfriend, you know, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I had to make a choice. You know, Charles Glass knows what neighborhoods we run around in. He's like, boy, don't go to them projects, boy. Melvin, don't you go? I was on my way. Nah, he hit me. No, he didn't want to come outside and finish the fight. So, you know, I had to learn to go the other way. And how did I get the option? The option was Chris Cormier said, bro, think about this. He said, come to London with me or come to Australia, do the tour, 2001. This is after King Kamali. This happened after that show. We were going to where? Australia, Hungary, and all these other places. And he's like, after the tour, if you still want to get him and this ain't worth it for you, then go take his head off. Yeah. That was my option. He goes, yeah, my eye was a little busted. I'm like, you know what? Okay, let me try that. He said, okay, let's go. So I went and followed Chris out the country. Got my first, like, oh my God, Australian people. Oh my God. It showed me, like I said, bodybuilding saved my life. I'm like, oh, I'm signing autographs over here. Yeah, I'm making money over here. People are inviting me in. I was a star. So I was like, should I still go back and get him? No. Gave him a pass. Yeah. Unfortunate what happened to him later, but bro, I could have been right with that dude.
Yeah.
You get me? Yeah. So people think that bodybuilding is just all about fun and games. No, man, we and King are telling you stories that behind the scenes. This happens. We never want to give bodybuilding a black eye, right? So I was always taught to always be professional, be respectful, and be liked. If they don't like you, they're not going to pay to see you. Right. These bodybuilders nowadays, they think I'm Mr. Olympia. I'm this, I'm that. Nobody cares. What are you doing for the public? What are you doing for the people who are paying money to see you? Just get up there and stick your tongue out. They don't want to see that. People want to see you present your physique in the best way possible so that someone else might want to do it. You know how many people from my old neighborhoods are bodybuilding now? You know how many people around the world are lifting weights because of King Kamali? You know how many people that are lifting weights because of Chris and all these other guys? Because they want to be like them, right? But if you give them nothing attractive to follow, nobody's going to do it. They say, what's missing in the sport? Entertainment value. Is there a wow factor? Samsa kind of got one. Andrew Jack, no. Derek Lunsford, no. Nick Walker, no. Hadi Chapon, he's good, but there's something he can put on it. Even back in the day, Branch Warren had a wow factor. You know what it was? Shake them quads, bam, shred it. That's a wow factor. Did Jay Cutler have a wow factor? Yes, sir. He put his foot up and flexed that quad, straight all the way to his hip. Wow factor. Did Ronnie Coleman have a wow factor? He'd turn around and throw that back up, bam, pull his glutes out, and then hit that back door bicep. Wow factor. King Kamali. Wow factor. Right? Who else had one? Kai Green. On his tippy toes. Getting on his head. I ain't never doing that.
Flex Wheeler. Kevin
Flex Wheeler.
Chris Cormier with the zip, how he zipped up his quad
and rolled his abs.
Yeah. But which leads to the next thing. Do you think social media has destroyed everything?
I think social media destroyed major money for a lot of athletes, but I believe that it's our fault, King Kamali's fault, my fault. We didn't teach the youngsters how to fish. Here's what I mean by that. Back when me and King Kamali was coming through it before us, those vitamin companies and those restaurants, they sponsored athletes for money every month. You would never find a girl with a plate giving out samples and getting $1,000 for the weekend. If you don't believe me, go back and ask the women back then, the fitness girls that was getting paid. You want to stand at this booth and throw T-shirts? They get their room paid for, $1,000 for the weekend. Every last one of them. Most of us showed up. We all had contracts. King had a contract. I had a Mustech contract. Chris had a contract. 100,000, 150,000, 80,000. And here's the kicker. If I knew, because it's happened, King Kamali's over there at Muscle Tech, or he's over there at this other company. You don't think I'm finna call King? King, hey man, Muscle Tech just offered me 50 grand. What you think? You know what King gonna tell me? Hell no. Tell him you want 80, because I'm getting 120. Cool. I'm gonna go back for us. Don't never take the first offer. I learned this from other bodybuilders. I would call King, or I'll call Chris, or I'll call Flex, or hey man, Iron Tech want me to come with 50,000. Nope, I'm getting 100. Tell them 90. Based upon your potential income later on where you're gonna go, not about what you're worth now. These kids we'll give you a QR code and a month worth of supplies. Man, you can keep that and put it in your pocket because I don't want it.
Yeah, they started taking everything. I met both of y'all. I met both of y'all in Arlington. I was 18, and y'all were in your prime at the time, around I guess probably 30 years old, 32, something like that. And you had to wait to the shows to see you guys, and and then of course the magazines, and then when social media rolled around. I remember when it started, when Instagram kind of you had MySpace and Facebook, but I think Instagram really changed everything, because I remember Muscle Mag, my last photo shoot for Muscle Mag, I think was like in 2011, and they were kind of talking about like, okay, all this internet stuff's getting popular now. They didn't know what to do, and they were all talking like Bill Geiger, the photographers, and they're trying to like have stuff online. But I was like, how is that going to work online? Because people are just going to copy the magazine online and then put it out there, so all the money is left. So I was kind of like in that spot where social media came in, and I'm like, no, F that. I'm not taking a picture of a selfie in the mirror with flexing and posting it on there. And so I think a lot of bodybuilders during that time, they didn't know what to do. And, you had all the newcomers coming in, that got really popular on social media. They took advantage of it, even if they didn't have great physiques or whatever. They're posting pictures every day. They're doing this every day. And then the people younger than them are looking up to them. And they forget about all these like legends. It's really weird how these guys, they'll know like a Sam Sulek or whatever, but they won't know, or they don't even care. Like, I get people like making fun of Jay Cutler, like, oh, who's Jay Cutler? He was just a bodybuilder. I'm like, that's insane. The mentality.
Whoever said that need to put cotton in his mouth and swallow it. Like, are you kidding me?
A lot of people
don't talk about. See, that's another thing I want to touch on, and I don't mean to cut you off, sir.
No,
but you touched on something very important. That's very important what you just said. If Jay Cutler opens his mouth and says, I eat the tail end of a sardine 3 times a day, you better be damn sure Melvin is going to get some sardines. I don't care how old he is. If Lee Haney says, I do 20 push-ups a day with 1,500 pull-ups, why would I not try that to see if it works? See, you never can know how far you're going to go if you don't know your past. If you don't know a King Kamali or Dorian Yates or Chris Cormier or Flex Wheeler or Paul Dillette or Lee Priest or go back, Ed Koak, Ed Corney. How do you not know these people? I watched Dorian Yates walk around one time at the Olympia and didn't nobody know who he was. How do you not know who that is? And you're talking about you're a bodybuilding fan. You're not a fan if you don't know who he is. You're not a fan if you don't know anybody that's been in the top 10 in the Mr. Olympia. Doesn't matter. Bob Paris, how does he get lost? Troy Zucalato, who was my juvenile hall counselor back in the day, who told me I had a physique back in the day. People was walking around the Mr. Olympia this last year, and people was like, he looks familiar. How do you not know that's Troy Zucalato?
Yeah, it's a different world we're living in right now, man. And it's unfortunately, somebody just brought up a good point. So social media has saturated everything. Anthony's right. It has saturated everything. But we're in a very difficult situation too, Melvin, because what do? Do we live in the past or we keep up with it? And we are keeping up with it. We do podcasts and we do talking and we do this and we do that. But what drives me crazy is right now, Melvin Anthony should be you should be turning down people on a daily basis with apologies saying, I'm sorry, I am booked. I'm booked for the next 6 months. I cannot help anybody else out. I'm sorry. You should be putting apology letters out there to people online. But people go and they hire, like I've seen the stupidest things. I've seen people come up. I've seen diets some bikini girls have, and I look at it and I'm like, how much did you pay for this? Oh, I was $3,000 up front, and I close my eyes and I shake my head, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I go to my gym and I see these little girls and guys walking around thinking to themselves, they're posing in the bathrooms and stuff, and I say to myself, yeah, I was the first Arnold Classic Best Poser Award winner, and I am looking at these people thinking to myself, what has happened, man?
They don't care. I mean,
they do not. They live in its own fantasy world, and sometimes you can't blame them because look what you do. You go and you say, cash me outside, and how about that? Next thing you know, you got $10 million in your bank account.
Yeah.
I mean, like what you just said, King. I mean, that they look at people, they're like, why do we have to work hard to look like, one of y'all that was up there when we can, do like whatever these influencers do? They get a name for nothing, like they're twins. They just now competed, I think, at a show not too long ago. Do they look okay for a novice show? Yeah, they looked okay. Yeah. Are they bodybuilders? No. They competed at one show and they said, we don't want to do this anymore because we don't want to kill ourselves. You don't have to kill yourself. That's their mentality, because every single kid is starting with a pro level cycle. They're starting with 10 IUs of growth.
Exactly.
Insulin, grams and grams on grams of stuff. And it's why work that hard when it's not paying off?
You know what I do? I just tell them all you have to do is pull up old pictures from King, from me, from Sean, from every bodybuilder in the 90s, 2000s. Just look at their photos and look at the photos of people today. Go back and look at the last overall USA winner. Go back and look at the overall national winner. Go back and look at those photos and compare them to the nationals back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. It's hard work. That is required. And if you don't want to lift weights and work hard, go play basketball, go play football, go wrestle, go do UFC, go do something else. But if you want to be the best in the world, it takes work, not pills. It takes hard energy. It takes consistency and persistence, not a pin, not a shot. These guys are starting. I'm going to do a bodybuilding show. First thing you do, what's my stack? How about learn how to train first and take them protein powders, put them together, eat some amino acids, and let's put this work in. I do 20 reps on leg extension. That ain't do 100.
I like Derek Lunsford. I think he's a great bodybuilder.
I do also.
He's a good kid. I think he's done a lot of good things. But I'll tell you what right now, and I hope Derek takes this the right way. I really like you, Derek. I think you're great. But if you would have showed up during my time in the late 90s, early 2000s with two humongous lumps on your lats, standing like that, the judges wouldn't even call you out, man.
You got counted off for all that stuff.
I love Derek.
After prejudging, you have a head judge come to you and say, you fake an injury, pretend like you're sick or something, don't come back. It's making the sport look bad. I remember Jim Mannion, God bless his soul. I love Jim Mannion. He used to always say it. What's good for the sport, King? It's got to be good for the sport.
That's right.
I can hear him saying it.
It's got to be good for the sport.
What's good for the sport? What's good for the sport?
That's my boy right there, Lee. What's up, man?
You don't want none of this. You don't want none of this.
Hey. I come over there and hit you with your own mitt.
You're frozen, Lee. You're frozen.
Good. I was pop locking. It's a good thing I was frozen because I was pop locking. So a good thing you didn't see it. I'm coming to you from the happiest place on earth.
I'd like to come there. Oh, McDonald's. Hey, so you gave up on Kentucky Fried Chicken, Lee? It's
not open. It's not open, Melvin. It's not open yet. Okay, that's lunch.
Kentucky Fried Chicken is Lee's favorite spot.
I know. One of the saddest days, and Melvin mentioned it on my documentary, was when I had the argument with Paul and had to clean out my cupboards and give it to Melvin. It was a very sad day.
I had 2 weeks worth of food, bro. I'll never forget that blessing and what you told me. And I'm gonna tell you something about Lee, Armon. The first time I ever met Lee Priest, he invited me to his house. I was so excited. I didn't even know he lived with Paul. I wasn't thinking about Paul at the time. I'm like, I'm going to see the Lee house. So I went over to Lee house, and I'm looking on the desk, and I'm like, hey, man, you got a bunch of mail over here. He just thought, I don't even open it. Yeah, go ahead and open, see what it is. I'm like, okay. I grabbed it. King, I opened the mail. It was like a $7,000 check. I was like, I said, hey, Lee, this money over here. I'll open up the other one, see how much. I'll open up another one, $3,000. I was like, bro. He was like, hey, just, him and Paul are laughing about it. And I'm like, all this money made me want to do bodybuilding even more on
Yeah.
Don't blame me for your stupidity, okay?
All this money over here. Got $10,000 just sitting on the desk. I'll get it later. I'll cash it.
And Paul had started dieting for the Olympia, and he was going off at me because I hadn't. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll start then. So as I had to give all my Cocoa Pops and all my cookies and ice cream to Melvin, I was crying.
I took it. It was the most exciting day I think I've ever had. With the bodybuilder. Just gave me all this
sounds
food.
Sounds like Lee's the one who taught you how to bulk up with the
Hell
sugar.
yeah. Lee used to tell me, he's Melvin, if you want to get big, just eat dirty. Just eat dirty. I said, okay. I was eating Hamburger Helper, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was doing everything Lee was doing.
Hamburger Helper wasn't that good. That was a good thing, Hamburger Helper. Oh.
Hell yeah, Hamburger Helper and beef stroganoff, and Lee tells me, you're on a diet. You're
shake and baked chicken.
Shake and baked chicken. He says it's only $1. Just go to the store. And I was broke. A broke bodybuilder. But like I said, bodybuilders of his era had no problem telling me everything. And that's what's missing today.
Melvin, what made you retire or walk away from bodybuilding? What or when was your last show? Or me and King were talking about that earlier. King spoke about how he kind of got out of bodybuilding. Lee, talked about his. What made you leave or walk away, or what happened with bodybuilding?
Well, I won't say it's because of Lee, but Lee people get Lee misconstrued. Lee will give you a diamond, put it in your pocket, and you won't figure it out till later what it meant. So Lee said one day when I was talking about all them checks on his desk, he said, when the money stops, you get out the way. When money stops, you get out the way. So as soon as and John had told me other things to, go back and accent that. Muscle Tech said, oh, we're going to bring in some new guys. We don't know what we're going to do with you just yet. Ooh. I wasn't prepared for the last bodybuilding show I did was my last check. And that's when he hit me what Lee said. Once that money stops, get out the way. I got out the way. I'm not going to go out here and pay $10,000, $12,000 to get ready for a show on my own dime. Hell no. I'm going to go get me a job and do what I'm supposed to do and be a man. I'm going to go that way. And that's how I got out.
What year was that?
2011.
Just like me, I'm still making money today. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Just go around the back, okay? I'll be there in a minute. In the alleyway, yeah. $20 is $20. I'll be there in a second. Shut up. Okay. These homeless people get a bit fucking.
He always had a niche, driving cars and race cars, and when that money stopped, Armon, I got out the way. Yeah, I started doing other things. I wasn't prepared for that, and hopefully the young generation, if you got a job, keep it. Use bodybuilding as a secondary supplemental income.
Sadly, I don't think they do that. Have you seen young kids today, even the ones in this industry, if Instagram goes down or Facebook goes down, it's the end of their world. It's like they can't cope. They can't function. If the social media goes down, they're like, what do I do? How do I make money? It's like, Jesus Christ, shouldn't have put all your eggs into one basket there, should you? It's like, crazy.
I know people on YouTube making 10, 20, 30,000 a month, and they lose their YouTube and they don't have income. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. And then back what you said about Derek. I want to be clear. I love his physique. I spoke with him many times. If you can just present it well, I think you will push people out the way. But if you keep doing what you're doing, people will just kind of you get lost, because people don't realize judges are fans too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got to give them a reason why you're supposed to be first place. You got to have that niche. They knew when Lee Priest showed up, he going to pull up with that muscle. It didn't matter how he looked in the offseason. Everybody's talk crap about he's so big in the offseason, but wait till he get in shape.
Yeah.
Melvin, what should Derek do? What should Derek be doing right now that he's not doing?
Come see me.
I think people should be individuals, because back in the days, like Melvin said, he had his niche with his posing and knew how to hide the show his good point, but also his posing. Everyone back in the day had signature poses and they knew how to do it. Today, everyone just like cookie cutters. Someone does this, we all do this. Someone does that. It's like they're all just like, there's no individuality. They're not being themselves. It's like, if he does that pose that way, I got to do it too. It's like, just be yourself up there. Find what works for you. It's like, you know, someone will do that myth pose. Why are you doing that? Oh, Lee, I love it. Looks good on you. I'm like, yeah, well, it looks good on me. It doesn't look good on you. Don't do it because
I told my nephew this yesterday, Lee. He's like, he's a big fan of yours. And that's why I've been calling your phone. I said, listen, if you don't have big arms like Lee,
I haven't got a missed call from you, Melvin. Have you got my old number or something?
I'll call you on the WhatsApp.
I haven't got a missed call from you. You must have an old number.
Yeah, I must. Yeah, but I told him if you don't have big arms, don't do leave poses. Don't do the circle lever. I tell his son to do it because that's the genetic gift. That's your pose, like your daddy. If you ain't got arms like Lee Priest, why are you putting them over your head? Don't do that pose. It doesn't accent you. You can't do it. It just doesn't work.
How many guys you see?
Armon, read that right there. Read it. Right
there. Mel, I put it up here. Melvin, do you take on posing clients? How do they?
Absolutely. They can just go into my IG. It's _Marvelous1. I do online training and posing. And actually, I'm gonna put it out there, but I've been trying to hide it. But you know, the smart ones will call me. You know, Logan Franklin. Logan Franklin is coming with something y'all not ready for. I've been collaborating with him. And the Martian just hit me up yesterday. So the Martian hit me up and said, you know, that he wanted to do some posing level up. So let's do it. What job did you get after bodybuilding, Melvin? I started driving trucks. I have a Class A license. I got out there in the mix on the oil field and was driving frac sand around all over Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, and everywhere else. Until I got to the point where that bored me to death and started talking to myself. I got out that truck.
You know who else is driving trucks? I talk to him regularly. Remember Rob that used to work at Max Muscle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's driving trucks now.
He's driving trucks? All right. It's a good job. So that's the job I took on, trucking, man. If you ever have problems, problems with the law, whatever, go drive trucks. They're felon friendly.
Do you play that song while you're driving? Do you play that song? We got ourselves a convoy.
Yeah, so that's the job I took on, man.
I wanted to drive a truck when I used to watch BJ McKay and My Best Friend Bear.
Yeah,
remember that TV show? The guy drove the truck with the monkey in the truck, and they'd just go around the country.
Well, a lot of the guys, I'll get clients. King will get clients or whatever, and they want to bodybuild. They're like, well, I don't have the money. I'm like, well, what are you doing for money? They're like, well, I do this. I'm like, dude, we used to have 3 jobs. I used to work 3 jobs just to be able to bodybuild. I work at a nightclub on the weekends, or weekends. I work at a supplement shop. I work at my dad's shop. I mean, they don't want to work. They just think people are waiting for stuff to just come to them. I'm like, that doesn't happen anymore. Contracts just don't land in your lap because you look pretty or you look good. That doesn't happen anymore. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to call companies. You have to go after these companies because that's what everybody's doing. Getting all these companies. Hey, I could, what's your value to this company? What can you do for this company? And people just aren't doing that.
There's a lot of things you can do for the company. Like I said, even the photo shoots we did back then. Give all honor to every photographer that ever took pictures of me. Perry Bernal, a beast. Alex Ardente, a beast. Bill Dobbins, a beast. Christopher Long, a beast. Kevin Horton, a beast. These guys had all kinds of videos. It's like if you have enough time to set up your video, put it on tempo, let me just record, schedule. You ain't training. We didn't do that. Lee, we walk around. Lee used to be like, take pictures. I'm not stopping for shit. And Lee would just work out. You better follow him around, take those photos. You're not getting them. I learned that from him.
A lot of photographers got mad at me too because I'd never train in a tank top or a shirt off. So they'd organize, Lee, we've got a photo shoot at this gym. I'd turn up like Club Metrics or somewhere. It's busy. I'm like, I'm going home. They're like, why? I said, there's too many people, but you're a bodybuilder. I said, yeah, it's on stage competing, not the gym. So I wouldn't do the photo shoot if the gym was too busy. I'm like, bye.
But still get paid. Get that money.
Yeah. Well, Muscle Tech would get mad. Muscle Tech got mad at me because I'd always be like, Muscle Tech, you need to do a photo. 10 bars. You got to take a bite of every bar, pretend you're reading the label, pretend you're doing. I'm like, after like 6 months, it's like, oh, we've got to do this one again. Pretend you're reading the label. I said, I've been with the company for 6 months. I should know what's in it by now. Why have I got to read the fucking label again? I'd have so many arguments with them. It's like, but then, like I said, but I had a 3-year contract with Muscle Tech. After 8 months, I got out because I said, you're fucking lying. I said, your fucking product shit. And they threatened to take me to court. I said, take me to court. I still say it's shit. So when I got out, Melvin's like, you're crazy. How can I get out? I said, just go tell them your products are shit.
They did. They had a system for us, a routine. They did. Yeah. They had 4 weeks of working out.
Oh yeah. And Irvin Gelb said they'd tell him you have to shoot for 8 hours, but we'd be finished in 5. Irvin goes, what do we do now? I'm like, I don't know. So we'd finish up, and then he'd get in trouble. You didn't shoot for a whole 8 hours, but Irvin's like, we got it all. We got all the photos. So you go, Leo, we have to shoot for a couple more hours. I'm like, doing what? I'm like, doing what?
He got me like that, 6 hours. And then we went to the firehouse and played it off and just said, take pictures of me eating or something.
Mike Nouveau was pretty quick. He wasn't.
Yeah, he was
a couple times.
Mike Nouveau was good too. Yeah.
Did you ever do a photo shoot with Robert Reef? The funniest photo shoot I did with Robert Reef was when Joe Weider was there, and the fucking arguments between those two about getting a photo right. There's this one photo I had to do. That's when I was on the cover of Muscle and Fitness. Those two blonde girls, and I mean, when you hear about blondes, these two are dopey as a box of rocks. But the photo Joe wanted was me sitting down, doing the arms out like this, no shirt on, sitting up, flexing the arm, abs flexed, while the girl's doing the splits across the back of my neck, and her legs are on my arms. So I'm covered in oil. She's got oil on, trying to sit up, stop her from sliding. It's like a pussy was like a fucking octopus, had the suction cup on the back of my neck. The fucking stop from slipping. It's like, and Joe's like, that's it, now flex your abs. I'm like, she's fucking sliding off. And then Robert's like, I don't think we can do this. And Joe's like, yes, we can. We got it. The big guy.
Joe was serious about his pictures.
Joe would get really into it. Like, he had an eye. He wanted it one way, and Robert Reef or whoever wanted a different way. It was like,
Well, that's why
Ralph DeHaan, Robert Reef.
DeHaan, Robert Reef. Yeah, they made you train. Like Chris Lund was always telling me.
Chris Lund was the worst.
I actually liked Chris
Lund was the absolute worst.
But you know why I liked him? Because he let us train. He's like, oh, yeah, train. You better just train. I don't care about that trying to fake nothing. I don't want no fake weights and none of that. Train. And that's what I like about it.
Well, he's the one who I said, listen, I'm just going to train and you just catch it. Because in the beginning, Chris Lund would be like, Lee, grab the 180s. Come on, get the 180s. I'm like, fuck, it's 2 weeks from a show. Come on, grab them. But, you get them. And as you're coming down, hold it there. Now come down an inch. Go back up an inch. I'm like, fuck off. I'm like, fuck that. Trying to hold a weight, even if you're squatting like 5-6 plates. Go down half an inch. Okay, now back up. Now go back. No, a bit lower. I'm like, fuck this. I said, I'll do the rep, and you just snap away while I do the rep.
Yeah. Who else got hurt bad instead of Jean-Pierre got hurt bad?
Jean-Pierre lives out here.
Orville
Burke. Yeah, hit himself in the head with the weights. Had a seizure or something, and then
Flex was the funniest. After he won that 97 Ironman, I got second. We had to do legs the next day. And Chris was like, come on, we're down at Club Metric, put lots of weight on. And Flex, Flex, you're lazy. Lee, you're doing all the heavy sets. So when the machine got loaded up to 10, 12 plates, this is your set, Lee. And he'll just stand there. And I think he was with Madeline at the time. She went and got him Taco Bell. All he did was sit there in Taco Bell while I was doing the heavy sets. He's like, okay, leg extensions. I'll do those. I'll do the light leg extensions. I'm like,
you know who was worse than that? Paul Dillette. All right there, big guy, blue collar. So he's got a question. Can you tell us these stories of times Robbie Robinson? Yes, I can. Robbie Robinson is one of the best guys around when it came to posing. That dude would work us to death. You talking about you want to learn how to pose and get endurance on stage? King Kamali, Robbie Robinson will work your ass to death and then say 10 more seconds. Got a timer. You come out of that room sweating like a pig, and if you didn't, he'd be like, "Did you pose today? No, you pose today?" He was making sure we posed. Oh yeah. Robbie wasn't no joke, and he ate clean all the time. I never really seen that.
I've never seen it too, but do you ever, in all the years I knew Robbie in the gym, I never heard Robbie raise his voice or get loud. He was always really quiet, just very. Almost you got to be like, "What'd you say, Robbie? What'd you say?" He might have been high half the time, but what do you say?
They smoke that weed now. He couldn't hear though out of one of them ears.
Yeah, yeah.
He told me during the war or something happened to his ear. So
But he's still in good shape now. What is he? Late 70s, is he? Or
79 or 80, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Who's the Terminator poser? That's King.
Melvin was a pop locker and a very classical poser. YouTube it, Mel. What are you asking questions for, Connor? Go to YouTube.
How much cardio did you do? I had to do a hell lot of I suffer. They said guys don't suffer. I had to do a lot of cardio because I like to eat my sweets. I was like Lee. After that show, me and Lee talk about what you have at the show. Kentucky Fried Chicken and the burrito and some ice cream. I'm like, man, that sounds good as hell. I want some of that. Oh yeah.
I used to do 2 to 3 hours of cardio before my contest just so I could eat more. But after the show, when I used to, I trained with Kurt. Remember Kurt Miller? I used to train with Kurt. Our biggest thing was to go to fucking Jerry's Diner. I used to get so sick when I pulled out the Jerry's Diner menu.
Jerry's Diner ain't got nothing on the firehouse, bro.
Firehouse, that's too healthy. Come on, wake up to yourself.
Like that. What's that place you used to go to that had the Cuban food?
I remember Aunt Kizzy's over there at Marina Del Rey wasn't bad, but then my massage therapist, he took me a couple of times down. Did you ever go to Doolan's down near Crenshaw and that?
Doolan's? Nope. I went to Aunt Kizzy's and M&M's.
Well, Doolan's I think it was the father owned Doolan's and there was the kids that owned Aunt Kizzy's. So he took me down to Doolan's. I think it was like Crenshaw and something back almost where the rights were. This is a Sunday brunch and I go walking in. Guess who's the only white guy in the place? Everyone just goes, huh? As soon as I walk in, I'm like, g'day. They're like, oh, Australian. I went, yeah, Australian. I'm not American.
Like you. Oh man, Lee was a superstar in our Kizzy's, man. I got a couple of discounts. I'm like, hey, I'm Lee boy. Ain't all 10% off. I'm gonna use it when I can.
And then we had
one of your boys works out at my gym. You know that, right?
Does he?
Yeah, he said he took a picture with me and sent it to you last week. The Hell's Angels kid, really got tats all over him.
No, who would have tats all over him? Fucking idiot.
Go ahead. Look, you know what? I always give it to Lee. Lee was the first athlete sports rep. Remember that when everybody was like voting Lee in, he didn't even want no parts of it. Lee was like, because Lee would say whatever he wanted to say, and nobody said nothing back. Nope. So I'm like, if anybody gonna be the athletes rep, it need to be Lee. If anybody can get away with doing this on video and get away with it, I said, yeah, we going with Lee.
Yeah, Lee had a special relationship with Wayne DeMilia. They loved each other.
That's a gift. That's a gift, I say. I had a gift.
Melvin, any other beefs back in the day? Any other beefs?
Beefs? Me? Shoot, I got into it with manager at goddamn any of the bodybuilders besides Craig. No,
yeah, I guess we're talking
everything else is just mostly arguments. Everybody argued back and forth. Back in the day we had a good time. Watching those people come up, watching the format of bodybuilding. So beefs for me, I was trying to be cool with everybody. I enjoy hearing stories from everybody. Once I got to know you, my only beef was usually at the press conference at the Olympia. They always said, "Don't mess with Melvin. You mess with Melvin, I'm gonna tear you a new one." You remember when Eddie Abu tried to get on my nerves, King? Remember me and Johnny was arguing, and he said, "You guys sound like a bunch of bitches." And I looked, and they was like, "Oh shoot, Melvin go get you." They brought me that mic, and I said, "How dare you call me a bitch and you a nurse? Ain't you a nurse? You already had bloody hair. You sound like a bitch." So we just talking about everybody. Then I walked outside shaking my ass to go pee.
You and Marcus Rule got into it at one press conference, did you?
Yeah, Marcus Rule. It wasn't really a beef. I love Marcus Rule to death, man. But that dude ate all my M&Ms at a show, and I was scared to say something back to him. I was like, "You got to be too big. But if you weren't so big, I'll make you pay for my M&Ms." He said, "Hey, Melvin," he was smoking a cigarette at the Night of Champions. He's like, "Hey, let me have some." I said, "Here." I gave him the bag. I went to go get my glaze. Came back. He ate all of it, but like 10.
Melvin, here's a question for you right here. And actually, this is something that you don't get into too many details, but I know personally I heard from a lot of people, you were never the kind that did a lot of stuff. You did minimal shit. Explain that.
Well, I tried it. So I tell this story a lot because people have to know, the growth hormone thing. So I didn't even know what growth hormone was at the time. So my stack was minimal. So I'd take, the test, the DECA, the, little Anavar, little Anadrol, take the minimal, and so some guys at the time were taking 1.5 grams a week. And you know who I'm talking about, King? Every week.
Yeah.
Every week. And I was like, that's a whole bottle and a half. I was like, I'm not doing that. So I went to go John Brown, show John Brown. He said, hell no. So the growth hormone, I tried to take a big amount once. So I was taking 3 or 4 units. And this particular time, I was in the Middle East, and that stuff was cheap. And they said, get as much as you want. I said, all right, I'm going to try to take 26 units. and laugh all you want. Lee, you didn't tell me not to do it. So I went ahead and tried it.
You never asked me. You never asked.
The second day, King, I did it again. The third day, I told Dennis, I said, man, I'm doing 26, man. I don't feel good. He said, what the hell are you doing that for? I felt like I had morning sickness. I looked at food. I was throwing up looking at food. And I knew what it was. I didn't try to make myself become accustomed to taking that amount. And that's the problem with these youngsters. They feel that way and ignore it. I went back to my low 4 units. It didn't make no difference. It didn't make me no bigger. It made me watery.
It doesn't make that. It makes it worse.
It made it worse. I felt like crap-ola, King. Then I went ahead. I'm going to take 1,200 milligrams of test. I ain't doing that no more. I was like the Wolverine, bro.
But today, nowadays, it's a badge of honor for them to feel sick. They think feeling sick means that they're doing something better.
No, it just means you're doing something. You didn't read the steroid bubble. So
I'll have people asking me like, I don't know if my stuff's real because I'm not breaking out. I'm like, you shouldn't break out.
You shouldn't be breaking out. That means it's dirty, dummy. That means it's dirty from somebody in Mexico and make it in their garage, dummy.
That's Melvin. Do you remember that press conference? It was funny. I was in the crowd because I was in trouble. I think somebody asked you. They said to Mel, some video I remember seeing not long ago popped up. It's like, what do you think of Lee? What he said and not being in the Olympia? I think Melvin's answer was, well, he said something bad and got his ass spanked. I think it was like Melvin's answer, something like that. Lee got his ass spanked by Wayne or whatever.
The only reason why I had to say that, King, because I had to. If I'd have said I ride with him, they would have my head off too.
I'd be like, Melvin, I got a seat for you down here beside me.
Lee knew exactly why I said that. He knew. He was like, yeah, if I would have said, hey, he did what he was supposed to do. Oh, but really? Oh, you'll be laughing. Oh, no.
Last call out.
The girls, okay, so the girls back then, like even when I started competing, like girls love muscle guys or bodybuilders. I like nowadays are these bodybuilders, I don't think they have these girl groupies like they used to, do they? I don't think they do they?
I during the prep, you had a lot of girl groupies. When I was in the bulking season, I had a lot of guy groupies. Everybody, you know what I'm talking about, King, because I'm gonna tell the story. Now you finally asked the right question because I did it to Lee. So look, we were competing, and I was hefty, I'm walking through this store. We're at the New York, right? And Milo seen this guy coming, and he hits the corner. I look, and I didn't full Armani suit. Briefcase. He walks up to me. He says, "Hello, Melvin. How are you?" Remember this kid? He says, "So I have some of my confidants at a personal place in New Jersey, and we'd like to do muscle worship." I said, "You want to do what?" Now, you know me. I'm from the street. I said, "What? You got to get an ice cube face. What? What you talking about?" He said, "Yes, I'd like you to get on this. We have a table set up and." Each one of us will pay $1,000 to see you pose the way you do on the stage because we love it. Wow. I said, I don't do that. You know what I'm talking about? Well, we'd like to know if you have Lee Priest, Rube. Because we love Lee Priest. Because we know it's not good to do it. I said, I know where Lee Priest is at. Call 201. And this guy calls Lee. And Lee's like, hey, we want to pay you such. And Lee cussed the guy out. Boy, he came, Melvin. He said, hey, Melvin. Why you send that dude at my door? I said, did he come there? He said he called my room asking me to come do muscle worship. What do you think? You think I'm a prostitute or something? I go, no, but I had to get him off of me. So I put him on to you. I said, yeah, call Carl tried to get Lee to pay her to do muscle workshop. I died.
We all had those issues.
But what about the one that didn't make it on the documentary, but the story where it did backfire on you, where the guy wanted your posing trunks and you sent him to my room? Yeah. Who lost out there, Melvin? Who lost out there?
Yeah, I lost out. But guess
he
what?
Thought he was going to play a trick, and he goes, "No, go to Lee's room." And that. So after he left, he comes to the door. I'm like, "Yeah, I got a pair. Here you go." I said, "Melvin, thanks for sending that guy up." He's like, "Why?" He goes, "I just made $7 grand. He brought my posing trunks." Melvin's like,
"What? What you mean? What you mean?" Tell him he said, "Too late, Mel." He made $7 grand. He goes, "Mel." He goes, "You didn't get the memo, bro." He said, "Anytime somebody wants to buy your trunks, bro, you go work out, put them in the bag, and give them to him." And I'm like, "You're bullshitting me. Show me the money." I'm like, "God, $7 grand. Chris was getting 10 grand. Dennis Newman got $5 grand. And I didn't get shit."
Melvin thought it was being funny again, going, "I'll send him to Lee's room. This will fuck Lee up." I'm like, "Thanks for that, Melvin. I got $7,000 more than made at the contest."
Shit. Some of those guys would pay any price you told them. They'd pay it. Whatever. Yeah.
Man, anybody that want trunks from me from then on, I was selling them. Man, Lee taught me a good one, but I wouldn't eat as much as he got, But I was getting money. I was getting that money. Yes, sir.
No, Titus isn't getting out soon. He just had a parole thing. That was like 6 months ago.
They did.
And it was awful. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think King, you watched it, right?
Yeah, the woman at the end said you killed a girl and put her in a suitcase. No, get the fuck out of here.
Didn't he also have when this thing ran out, like if his time, life, 20 odd years on this ran out, didn't he have some other time he has to serve after that? So it's like there's another sentencing that's going to join on anyway, so he wouldn't be able to get out.
A lot of that stuff, like they said, Kelly's out though. I mean, Kelly's out and gone somewhere, but they let her out because he said I did it, but he didn't. That wasn't all him, man.
Yeah.
We see the funny thing is all the bodybuilders that live that way, myself, Lee, we all know what really happened. That movie they made, they left a whole lot of stuff out there. That movie was bullshit. Let them call me. I'm gonna tell them. I'll tell you the rest of them.
It's like they'll always put more blame on the big bodybuilder, muscular steroid roid rage, and then trust me, those women back in the day in this sport that were on a bit of hormones and recreational drugs, they do more damage than any muscular guy.
Oh hell yeah.
I was younger than all y'all. I just always heard like, "Oh, Kelly was this perfect angel and Craig ruined her," and I knew that wasn't true. And I knew, I remember with this one kid, a teenager, I used to prep against. Craig Titus was his coach, and then I heard stories about, Kelly and all that stuff too. And I never, it was, yeah.
In the beginning, she was. I think I was in. Was it Greens? Could have been Greensboro over there? Was it North Carolina or whatever? And she won the very first show, and I gave her the trophy, and she got a pro card. We were backstage, like, I'm going to move to California. I said, "Oh yeah, Gold's Gym." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, just be careful. There's a lot of sleaze bags." And she's like, "That's okay. I'll never date a bodybuilder." Then a couple of months later, I see you with Craig. I'm like, "Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh, here we go."
Out of all the ones you picked.
Yeah. Of all people,
you picked the worst one.
Melvin, did you like muscular women? I know Lee, you like muscular women, right?
Well, I was married to Kathy for 5 years, and but she was still feminine.
A hybrid. Kathy was beautiful, even now. Like that. That's
and then I was with. She wasn't too muscular, but she was crazy. I was with Adela for a few years.
They were petite though. Garcia,
But when I was younger, I dated this bodybuilding girl. I was only like 14, and she was way older than me. She was like 6 foot, so it was pretty full on. She was like, and then that was the first time I've ever experienced a clitoris the size of my finger. Almost took my eye out.
Yeah, I'm not into it as much as some of the other guys. I mean, off season, we cool, but
where'd Melvin go? He's spinning. I can't see him.
I can't do it. I can't do it when you're in shape. I can't.
Yeah, I agree.
That's too hard. Yeah, that's too
hard.
What?
And let me just be clear. I respect all bodybuilding women, anybody that's in shape, but here's what throws a man off.
I've lost Melvin on this side.
Yeah, you mess around and they go into another position, and you turn your back to me. I don't want to see you do a lat spread. No, that's a done. You just killed it all. I can't do it. I can't.
That's true.
I'm sorry. If you're gonna do it, you better stay tucked in. Stay tucked in. Don't lat spread. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
It's like a rock.
There's Melvin.
They got the whiskers and all that shit.
Hey, it's all disappeared. You're all just turning circles.
It's going circles right now.
No, you're back now. But I'm gonna love yous and leave yous because it's still only 5 degrees and my hands are going numb out here.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's cold.
Good seeing you, brother. We'll see you next week.
There's like ice on the car.
Hey, as soon as they let me go, I'm coming out there. I want to see my brother, man.
Yes, it's just down the road. It's not far.
Yeah, but they won't let me leave. They won't let me go out the county sometime.
I got to head over to I'm going to the Euro Muscle Show in 2 weeks, or the 10th of July. Kevin's going to be there, and I'm doing a seminar with Ronnie. So
it's hard to get into Australia though with a record though, because I got a record and I can't go to certain places. I can't go to Canada.
I'm Australian, and it's hard for me to get back in. When I come back, they want to search my bags and shit.
Really?
I must have. Oh, well, I got that look. I must have that look of a drug dealer with tattoos and shit.
That's little Tyson right there. That's little Tyson.
They always say, "Do you know it's illegal to bring steroids in?" I'm like, "Oh, thank God, I've only got the cocaine and heroin." Then this one guy pulled me over. It's like a big fat security guy. Pulls me over. This young kid comes to search me. He's like, "Oh, you're Lee Priest." So I'm talking to him. He even packed my bag so nice. And the fat guy comes back and goes, "Did he have anything?" He's like, "No, he's good." Search it again. This young kid's like, "Oh." He's like, "Sorry, Lee." I said, "That's okay. You've got to do your job." So as I was walking out, I walked past this little fat guy. I said, "Oh, I guess you must be upset I didn't have anything on my inside my bag." And then he's just like, "Yeah." I said, "Don't you think looking like a bodybuilder, I would have gave it to my skinny friend that went through 30 minutes ago?" He's like, I just fuck with him now. I fuck with him all the time now. So, but the trick is say you don't know what's in your bag, because when I get back home, if I'm leaving England or somewhere, it's like 48 hours. I haven't seen my bag for 2 days. So they're like, "Did you pack this?" I said, "Yes." "Do you know what's in it?" "No." They're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I left the bag at Heathrow. I haven't seen it to now. That's 48 hours. It's been out the back of airports. Other people have touched it. So I do not know what's in it. So I'm not responsible." So that gets you out of anything, people. Yeah,
I like that, Lee. See, here come Lee again. That's a loophole.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then I got to go in the toilet and pull all the contraband out of my ass. That sucks. But, you know.
You got like I did when I came back from Thailand. I had that stuff all over me. Yes, sir.
Well, they see it. They see it now because you got the, you're in the little thing that swirls around you, so they can see all this shit.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. They can see everything. I have to fluff it up. I fluff it up before I stand in that, just in case they can see through my clothes.
All right, Lee. I'll see you, man. I love you, bro.
Thank you later.
Bye. Literally. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
That's my guy.
Ready for the speed round, King?
Yeah, man. Let's do the speed round. All right, Melvin. I told you about this yesterday. I'm going to say something, and you tell me the first thing that pops into your head. Don't think. Just say the first thing that comes out, okay?
Okay, does it have to be R-rated PG?
Chris, and Chris sat there for 10 minutes thinking. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's the speed round.
Oh,
Chris is like, well, it's this or that. I'm like, Chris, it's the speed round. This or that.
All right, this is like being in school? Okay.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What was the best era of bodybuilding?
The 90s.
Who's your favorite bodybuilder of all time?
Sergio Oliva.
Who was the best poser of all time?
John Brown.
Who was the best entertainer and poser of all time?
Okay, you said poser or entertainer. See, now you get two different questions.
Entertainer
so
slash
poser. Best poser of all time. I would still say John Brown. Best entertainer, John Brown.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Because I say the poser, if you're just talking about just posing, I would say Lila Brada. So posing and entertainment, John Brown.
Okay, good. Craig Titus.
Angry.
Chris Cormier.
Good friend.
East Coast or West Coast?
West Coast, man. All day.
You and Chris. Anger. That's West Coast monsters. I love it. What was a better run show? The Arnold Classic or the Mr. Olympia? Not better run, I said. Better run.
Arnold Classic.
Thank you. You're the 10th person that said that so far. All right. 100% Kai Green versus 100% Hadi Chupon. Who wins?
Kai Green.
100% Melvin Anthony versus 100% Dexter Jackson. Who wins?
Man, why you hit me with that, King? Damn.
I got to ask you the hard ones, man.
Dexter. Fucker.
Wow. All right. Favorite cheat meal?
Chocolate cake.
Oh, man, after my
with
own
ice
heart.
cream.
Man after my own heart. Jesus Christ. Best gym you ever trained at?
Bada Budai, Kuwait.
Okay. 100% Flex Wheeler.
That was Oxygen Gym.
Oxygen. 100% Flex Wheeler versus 100% Phil Heath. Who wins?
Flex Wheeler.
Ice Cube or E40?
Ice Cube.
Nick Walker.
Mass Monster.
Milos Sarchev.
Smartest man in the sport.
Steph Curry or Allen Iverson?
Iverson.
Like that. Canelo or Crawford coming up?
Canelo.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Oh, you threw
Let
me
me
off.
tell you why. Let me tell you why.
You can go ahead
Canelo's
and
a
explain
dog.
this one because I thought you were going to say Crawford.
Canelo's a dog. Most talented Crawford. But if he sleep on Canelo, he gonna get knocked out.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll still take Crawford. The 1990s sucked in look or today's skin bursting full look?
Sucked in.
Best trash talker ever in bodybuilding?
Melvin Anthony.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I got the answer to this one when I ask you anyway. Are you a salt guy or are you a sugar guy?
Sugar.
Of course.
Hey, everybody know that.
See, now I know what to get you. If we ever run into, we're gonna see each other at the Olympia. I'm gonna get you the best cakes and I got you.
That's all you had to do.
I got you.
Dexter. The only one knew that was Dexter. Dexter was like, man, all I just want to do is give you some damn chocolate. Give me on some sweets. You got me out the show.
All right. Favorite football team?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
I'm a Pittsburgh fan all day.
Pizza or burgers?
Burgers.
Favorite car?
Favorite car? El Camino, 85.
That's a West Coast thing right there. God bless you, man. God bless you. Okay, and last one. We ask this to everybody. Best advice you give to the new generation, the new kids coming up in bodybuilding?
Best advice. Learn from somebody who's been there and present your physique well, prejudging and finals. You don't know, learn it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
There's a speed round. That's it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I wanted to, say prayers for Fuad. I don't know if Melvin, you heard he got in a bad motorcycle accident. That's all the family said. They didn't post anything else, but it sounds like it's pretty bad. But
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to get his phone number or something and text him.
Well, his wife posted. That's all the info they wanted to let out. Now they want to keep their privacy, but they're just letting everybody know he's stable, and so it sounds like it was a pretty bad motorcycle wreck. So just prayers out to Fuad.
Best wishes to his family. Absolutely.
Best wishes and prayers. Last time I spoke to Fuad was at the Olympia right before Samson won, and I told him Samson gonna win. I was betting dudes in the sidelines too, $20. No, he ain't gonna win. Man, Samson finna win. Watch. And when he did, the look on Fuad's face was priceless. When I tell you authentic support, that man loves Samson.
Melvin, please, at the last thing that we're going to say here, how can the people contact you? How can they get your services for posing, for online coaching? Please put it all out there one more time so everybody knows how to get in touch with the Marvelous Melvin Anthony.
You can get to me at _Marvelous1, ONE, not the number, on IG. The Real Marvelous One on TikTok, or Marvelous One on TikTok. So I have 2 TikToks, one for business, one for posing, And then the IG has been like that for forever. I use it for personal and business. So just DM me and we can get it started. I'll give you details.
Perfect. Armon, anything else?
No, Melvin, appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon. It was a great show.
Oh.
Great show today. A lot of stuff people needed to hear, and a lot of stuff we didn't know either about your life. Awesome.
Oh yeah, we got stories to tell, man. Believe me, we just have to shift through the ones we can tell and the ones we can't tell. You just
Melvin,
let me know.
I pray and I hope I see you at the Olympia. I will. If you're there, I know I'm going to be there, and I hope we'll get together and we're going to have a great time, man.
Oh yeah, I'm making my calendar stuff now, so yeah, I'd like to get there for sure.
Sounds good. All right.
So, all right,
Melvin. Thank you so much, Melvin.
Take care, guys.
Right.
Peace.
Peace. See
Peace
y'all
out.
later.
Later.
Later.